Jumpers to keep them warm. It's quite fascinating. So this is going to be Aoraki National Park, so yes. And for Mount Cook, so Mount Cook was actually named after Captain Cook, who was one of the great explorers who came, and he really was the first to ever explore New Zealand in terms of like creating a map for it. So he sailed all the way around New Zealand and created a very, very accurate map of New Zealand, which was pretty awesome. But Aoraki is the Māori name for Mount Cook, and it means sky piercer. So that's because it is the tallest mountain in New Zealand. We are almost at sea level, guys. Queenstown, I think, is at, I want to say it sits at 700 meters above sea level. But Mount Cook sits over 3,000 meters. So there are only 24 mountains that sit over 3,000 meters in New Zealand. At least there was the Sky Father, and the Sky Father had 3 sons, and those 3 sons were canoeing, and then this massive storm came along, and it knocked over their canoe, tipped it upside down, and the 3 sons, they climbed on top of that canoe to survive. But there was a southwesterly wind that blew, and southwesterlies are incredibly cold. They're coming from Antarctica, and so they froze on top of the canoe. And so the theory is that South Island is the canoe, and then those 3 brothers are the mountains that make up the Southern Alps. And Mount Cook, or Aoraki, is the eldest son. And then he waited, and he waited a little bit more until he had a southwesterly breeze, and then once that happened, he went up and he found the princess while the giant was asleep. Hot tub actually at the top of Ohau for people. For this area, all of the mountains are pretty brown, right? Obviously all of this is farmland, so what the farmers will do is they will actually move their sheep and their cattle from one plot to another. Really big on making sure that we do as much sustainable farming as possible. Maybe for me, actually, and sad part of life, but salmon in there. This is one of the most environmentally friendly fish farms in the world. This is an example for all over the world, and part of the reason is we have millions of tons of water that flows through those salmon farms every single day, and so those salmon are constantly swimming. And I want to say, I knew this at one point, they're swimming over like 20 kilometers per day in that water. So plenty of exercise, very healthy. They're not just kind of sitting there, and it's very cold and fresh glacial and snowmelt water. And Lake Wakatipu outside of Queenstown, you wouldn't think it, but there are lots and lots of massive eels in there. And surf this together, and I love fish. That was a lot for me. They're all congregating together. But really cool about our eels here. So they're actually called tuna. In the Māori name for an eel is tuna, and the tuna, what they do is they will actually stay in our rivers and our lakes, and then they can live to about 80 plus years. And we're getting our first look at the Cookie Monster, I like to call it. Sorry, what?
This is the Kumaka.
So this is all of these mountain ranges over here. So this is all going to be part of Aoraki, Mount Cook National Park. And just so, I know it's kind of hard for everyone, but if you're looking straight out the window, we can just now see Mount Cook. It's going to be the tallest mountain. It has a bit of a curve.
Oh, Sierra.
Yeah. So that is our sky piercer. Sitting on a alpine, it's an alpine flat, but essentially there are two plates that are merging together. And so we have the plate that we're currently on, that's on the right, and it is merging into the other plate. And all of those mountains are actually the edge of that plate kind of going up out of the ground and being pushed upwards. So all of these mountains are growing at an average pace of about 7 millimeters per year, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but in terms of mountain growth, that is a massive amount. And Frida, and she was lovely. Fancy hiking gear that we have nowadays, right? We have the hiking boots, we have the nice grip on the bottom, we have hiking some of the clearings. So a lot of these trees that are cleared, these are going to be all pine trees. So some firs, pines, we basically just evergreens. Evergreen trees are not native. Well, there are some natives, but these in particular are not native to New Zealand. They cause a whole lot of issues for our environment. And part of the issue is, one, they have incredibly acidic needles, pine needles, and when those fall into the soil, that acidity will seep down into the soil and basically kill all of the native plants that are growing. And then also they have really thick branches, and that branch will prevent light from going down to the bottom. And obviously plants, in order for them to grow, they need that photosynthesis from kill the birds and then leave without eating them, which is a huge problem for us. This is a lavender field on the left. So during the summer, if you guys do ever come back, it's really fun. They'll have an entire farm shop set up, all sorts of lavender products for you guys to buy. And then they also have a bunch of lavender ice cream. And the lavender ice cream, guys, is unreal. I refuse to drive by here and not make a stop for that lavender ice cream project right now to remove them. Even around Queenstown, you guys may have noticed, behind Queenstown, so if you're looking towards the gondola, there are a bunch of trees on either side / past it. They're actively removing those trees, but up above there's a layer of brown dead trees. All of those have been poisoned. They'll actually go in and individually poison all of those. Shine on it right now looking towards Mount Cook, but if you look backwards behind us, you can really see that blue color. It is such a fine material, it refracts significant ways. You would actually see that the water is just a very normal lake colored water, but that glacial flower will sit on the top. When we get to the end of the road, we'll see the end of Lake Pukaki, and it's really cool because there's a really awesome braided river. So if for those who are wanting to do the helicopter, if we are able to get up with the weather, it's really awesome because you can see it from above, and the color of the braided rivers are an insane blue color. It's so cool. And so yeah, but they'll be flowing different ways and then merge back together. The boat that will actually take people out to the Tasman Glacier. But other than that, this is a
natural.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in a national park. Yeah,
They do not let people do.
they don't.
Protect the river.
Yeah, it's just we would do the helicopter drop off and just check to make sure that we are a green light. We would need minimum 4 to go.
Aww.
They might not going.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe just hiking.
So what I can do is I can always stop in and gain in the hut system around the mountains, and the water we're drinking is just straight from the streams. WhatsApp?
Yes.
Okay, if you don't have WhatsApp, come find me. We'll figure it out. But I'm going to give you my number so that if you need anything while you're hiking, let me know. There are sections of the hike that will have service, and it was as you get avalanche. So we have a bit of snow that's kind of coming down, like a little, looks like a little bit of rock, a little bit dirty.